Welcome to another episode, man, of Pels in a Blender. It's your boy Davis. I got the Prophet with me. You hear me? I always like to call my dog the Prophet, Cheddar Chaz. You hear me? Welcome.
What's the deal, bro? How you doing, man?
Cool and dog, cool. And we back again. Did the show last night. Great episode. If y'all missed it, make sure y'all catch that on Chaz's page. Went dove into the discussion surrounding Ja Morant a lot. At again, we've been talking about this ad nauseum, just kind of repeatedly putting the information out. I think now it's been maybe over a week, about maybe two at this point, how the team felt about Ja Morant, who possibly was putting out that information, who had the benefit of putting out Ja to New Orleans. But again, if you're not tapped in with the show, the episodes we do on Chaz's page or the episodes I do here, you got to make sure to tap in with those, man, because we give a lot of information that once we give it to you, pause, repeat it, like in depth of how and why and all of that, and then when the information comes out, we watch it blow up, and it's just kind of like, well, no, we already discussed this weeks ago. Like the people that tuned into those shows are already kind of like in tune with what's going on. So I just kind of want to take the time out today to, every so often, I like to do episodes about like the words that matter and taking people at what they say, dissecting those so we can have a better idea of what exactly. Whoa, what's good, Mason? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. What's good, Jaden, dog? For sure, always, man. Appreciate y'all, bro. Make sure y'all hit that like button as y'all come on, into the channel or whatever. But I just want to do these episodes where we break down some of Joe's interviews, and I'm not gonna play the Jake Madison video, but we're gonna discuss it for a little bit and just kind of give like a true idea of talking about trade and the trade. And you're starting to hear Giannis move, and Jaylen Brown move. You still don't know until anything happens. You don't know nothing. But just Chaz, with everything that's been mentioned, right? Regarding like we could kind of seal this up again, because shout out to Fletcher. Fletcher came out, I think it was either this morning or last night, I'm not sure, and just kind of really solidified again what we said yesterday, talking about Ja, and the Pelicans have no interest. Ja won't be moved to New Orleans. Like, what do you think about Fletcher saying it and everybody's kind of confirming it? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not gonna say what I really think about it,
Right.
but what I think about it is, I mean, it's not necessarily news. You know what I'm saying? What else, Jade? Not necessarily news. I think, what up, Jeremy? I think we also in a era where you're in the post-Woj era, and I think you're sitting. I think you're sitting in the post-Woj era, and what I mean by that is Michael Scotto is not an aggregator. Sam Amick is not an aggregator. These are respected journalistic guys, so they don't just go off the cuff and say shit. So the fact that each of those guys put this out there, it would lend some credence to it. And but it's not true. Like, maybe there was some exploratory conversations that have happened, but at the end of the day, it's not true. I think I'll say this off season is going to test a lot of fans, not just with the Pelicans, just NBA fans in general.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to test a lot of people's fandom, and you better have a strong stomach, because it's gonna be a tough. I think it's gonna be a tough NBA offseason to be a fan of certain teams. I'll say that.
I agree. I think when we talk about our team specifically, or this team specifically, when you're in the position that they're in, and we're gonna look at what Joe Dumars said about this quote specifically, but when you're in the position that the Pelicans are in, you had 21 wins, 26 wins. again, they have not come out and said exactly how they plan to build this team out in the future, right? Even when you look at the fan base to a degree, the fan base is torn on everything. Some people love Z, some people want to move Z. There was talk, like just talking about Z, there was talks of just cut Zion and let him go for nothing, right? Regardless of how you feel. There was also talks of move Trey, keep Trey. Move like Trey doesn't help you win, and then Trey can bring back a haul. So it's kind of like when you hear the information coming out, especially about the top two players. Right now, I think the top two players that people look at being moved is very it's a wide range of opinions of what people think about said players. And I think that might also be the case of what the front office might view about how the front office might view some of those players. Like they may feel one player is very much more impactful than the other, and then another player they might feel is very replaceable. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's all about perspective. Firstly, I'm sure like kind of like the Giannis thing that came out the other day. People thought it was funny. Like he doesn't want to leave Wisconsin. He wants to leave the Bucks. Right. I think there's a couple players that I don't know if Zion loves playing for the Pelicans. I'm sure he likes being in New Orleans. I'm sure he loves the city. But even with Trey, I'm sure those guys, I've kind of had about enough of being with the Pelicans, right? If the opportunity presented itself, I don't think they'd be like, damn. Aside from, damn, man, it's sad it's come to this. But, I'm sure those guys would like to go sort of their royal oats because this is, it hasn't been a good team. So there's that. I also think, again, this isn't news. I think they talking to everyone about everything. Like I just saw something today. It was like the Timberwolves had conversations about Trey. I think they're talking to everyone about everyone and about everything. I kind of ping pong with my position on where I see things headed. To nothing has happened and nothing has changed really from yesterday. But until we see that first move, my inclination right now is that they'll be headed for a teardown sooner than later. And that's just based on like if some domino effect type things happen. Like, oh, we didn't get nobody great this offseason. Now Zion, like, look, bro. Like it's pointless. Let's
what we doing?
Yeah, what we doing? I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Right. And then at that point, it's kind of like, all right, well, now we officially in that mode. If we keep the 27th pick, now hopefully if he does feel this way, hopefully he we get confirmation prior to trading away that pick if that pick is traded. So because then now you like, all right, now we about to just try to go into the season, quote unquote tanking, right? Or stealth tanking. Fuck, you might not have to tank or stealth tank, to be honest. It depending on how the roster look. And hopefully Milwaukee's doing about the same. So y'all both now you got two opportunities to get in the top four potentially. Like, you know what I'm saying? Depending on how people feel about the draft, maybe you consolidate it or what have you. But to sum it all up, I think today I feel more like there might be a teardown versus a competitive team. Well, what else was that again?
Well, it was good. Appreciate all y'all for tapping in, man. Appreciate y'all. Trade back for Julius Randle. That's an option. To what you said, it's kind of, you know what I think it boils down to, and then we'll discuss the more recent kind conversations that were mentioned around Trey Murphy, right? But man, appreciate you for that, dog, for sure. Appreciate it. Um, we have been talking about if they go into this season and don't make significant moves, they were in position that if it don't start off well, tearing it down at the trade deadline anyway. So my position always was they wanted to look at adding talent, right? They wanted to look at getting better and seeing what was out there. Also, depending on whoever came back on this team, if they brought back Zion and Trey, if by the trade deadline this team wasn't, I ain't say you got to be like firmly in the playoffs. I'm not saying that. But if you looked like your season was over by November anyway, I think you were getting ready to go into the rebuild, right? So it wouldn't be surprising to me. And it's not saying that they're at this point deciding to tear it down, but as you get closer to the draft, the calls are coming in. Maybe you find more information out about your players and what they want to do. Again, maybe you're swaying your decision either way about how you feel about certain things. What's your thought about that specifically?
Yeah, that's always a possibility where you go out there and the market isn't what you thought it could potentially be, or this deal just seems like, man, it's too good to pass up. Like, even if I'm Memphis and like, damn, you're gonna give me 4 firsts or 3 firsts and one more for taking homie name, KCP, I'm open to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Louisiana guy said Herb name starting to float around in rumors today.
Yep.
Thank God. I
Yeah.
haven't heard anything on the Herb front in a while.
According
He's
to
been a very, very sneaky, quiet name. I'm sorry, what you about to say?
according to Shams, who was just talking on the Pat McAfee show, they just reported that Herb Jones' name is one of the names tied that might be traded. So again, and let's
Did he say to
kind of,
any team in particular?
no, it's just could be traded before the NBA draft. Let me let me go ahead and play this particular video for everybody so we could kind of get an idea, because again, this kind of emphasizes what it is that I think is happening. So let's go ahead and play this video real quick.
We definitely have a chance to do so. You know what I mean? Like we can if we choose to. That's a good question, because you can always move. When it comes around draft time, it's amazing. Like from this time right now to the draft, it's amazing the incomings and the amount of phone calls you take, just in terms of being able to move in the first, second, move out. It's amazing. And so, just remembering last year, the closer we got to the draft, the amount of calls that came in to allow you to move one way or the other was quite a bit.
So the reason I play this video is because, again, this was Joe Dumars' end of the season press conference, which was in April, right? This was in April. In April, he said, hey, from now until the draft, it's going to be a bunch of calls that you take. And then as you get closer to the draft, the amount of calls ramp up, especially if you're trying to move, right? People are calling about everything. Like the Pelicans are taking calls. The Pelicans are making calls. And you have to do that when you in the state that the Pelicans are in. Names that we've mentioned all the time about them trading. Who is the main? I've been saying more than anything. And again, to your point, you just said that Herb's name hasn't been thrown around as much. To me, I personally think Herb Jones is the one name that should be the first name considered moving off the roster, that, like, unlike DeJounte, may have a different kind of value that you could use to get back into this draft. What do you think about Herb Jones' name finally being mentioned as far as moving around in the draft, or possibly being traded before the draft, and like some of the information that's coming out?
Herb, yeah, I think not this front office. I think the prior regime, they might have kind of missed the bus on trading Herb. I think he should be someone you're looking to trade. I don't think trading him really signals anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's not a name that people, because again, what's it called? Out of sight, out of mind. Like you're not like
Yes.
the Pelicans have been bad. He hasn't been individually producing, so he's not a name that people really care about in the public
Mhm.
sphere. But I'm sure he's been available this whole time. Like they're willing to listen to offers for him. I don't think they're actively shopping anyone. I think it's just like,
Mhm.
all right, what would it cost to me to get into the top 10, top 8, top
Right.
7? Like, well, for pick 6, it cost this. All right, it cost that for pick 6. All right, then that's what it costs. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And if I want that, that's what I may have to pay. What's it cost me to get into 12 after 10, 12, let's say 11 through 16? Like, I'm
Mhm.
sure they have all of these contingency plans in the event that their guys off the board. Like, for example, let's say Atlanta, hypothetically. Let's say Atlanta, like, we want Mara. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's say we want Mara. And they like, or whoever. They're like,
Mhm.
and they like, we've not traded them to you. No, we actually want to keep them. And then now you're like, all right, now I gotta pivot to whatever else. You feel me? It's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see which way they pivot, because I don't think, one thing I will say about this current front office, I don't think they care about none of that fan favorite shit. And me,
Yeah.
I don't care about none of it neither, because ultimately it's about winning, and you haven't won. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You haven't won. So
At all.
if you haven't won, everyone realistically has to be on the table. I think that I feel like this shit is just a haunting like situation, but it's just like it all goes back to Dairy Queen, like because like it's just a haunting thing. Like I really wish they never did that. I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah.
because it's like
You have
hyper,
5 and 8 in this particular
well,
draft.
you
potentially.
might not even have 5,
No.
right? Because
No.
one thing people leave it out is that Indiana wouldn't have tanked. They
I
would
don't
have
think they
tried.
would have.
Yeah, so let's hypothetically say you got 8 and
Whatever.
15,
Yeah.
right? Because I really think that's more accurate. Like, let's say you got
Yeah.
8 and 15. So you got 8 and 15. Maybe you don't have to trade anybody in that case, right? You don't have to trade anybody in that case. And I think that's how people really feel about it. I don't think people, I'm not talking about the building. I think the fan base and like maybe people who cover the team. Now, some people who cover the team have been explicitly truthful about how they feel about this. I don't think people believe in Dairy Queen. Like, and I think that's really what it is. Because if they did believe in Dairy Queen, they would have moved on from this by now. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I think
I
people would have moved on from this by now. So any trade to say, oh man, you traded for your own pick. It's like, yeah, in theory, or really in practice, yes. But also, if you zoom out a little bit, it's like, no, I traded for pick 8. I traded for an asset. Like,
Yeah.
if you love Dairy Queen, if you're a fan or someone who loves Dairy Queen, then it's like, no matter what I sent out to get him, I went and got him, right? Now
Yeah.
I'm about to go get somebody else,
Yes.
right? Who you gonna love? So it's multiple ways to look at it. I think that deal just kind of set such a weird precedent that people aren't going to get over it soon unless you win. And on top of that, every move you make now is going to be met with hyper skepticism, because people I'd rather people just come out and say, I don't think they're going to be super good. Like, I think it'll be okay. And I would prefer people to just say that versus like the hyper skepticism, because for me, I'm like, it's over. Like, it happened. You gotta move on. Like,
Yeah.
it's over.
stop tying things to that particular.
Yeah, like you can't keep tying things to that. I get the optics of everything, but gotta move on. It happened, man.
I agree. Again, around this particular time of year, and let me speak real quick, and let me ask you, I guess, the questions about, Trey's particular movement. Jake put out the video yesterday, in his live about the trade rumor to Atlanta and that potential deal. What I think the details of what people missed, or the clip that's floating around, if you didn't watch the entire show, the clip that's floating around is that the couple things that were missed is, one, it did say that the Pelicans were in talks with multiple teams about moving up into the top 10. And then recently, when they got to Atlanta and had their discussions with Atlanta, the framework ideally was, 8, maybe trade. And essentially, what does it look like if you trade for pick 8? Is it trade? Okay, well, if it's trade, then it's this and stuff, right? I think people just kind of locked in on that particular portion of what was going on, and didn't take the time to focus on everything that was said. That was one, the conversation was they're having conversations with multiple teams. Also, there's multiple players that are targeted there. And it's been reported that they like Nader Mint, but it's also been reported that they like Mara. It's also it could be a couple players that they like in that particular range as well. So again, when people tie trade for a Mint, it kind of throws it off. But in theory, I just think the more important thing from that particular video was, one, they're in talks with multiple people, which you have to be at this stage of of your franchise in the draft. If you listening to calls for Trey anyway, right? I gotta listen to calls. You have to kick the tires on what that potential deal could look like. And again, having a lot of interest does not mean that anything is 100% going to happen, right? So you have to listen to what even Shams, Jake, and anybody that reports on this are actually saying. Now, does that mean that the trade won't happen? No, that's not saying that the trade won't happen, but them having interest or taking a call and stuff like that, I think that's just, again, what Joe said, that's just kind of the way things go.
That's
around
the nature of the business.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes around this time. Also, and I'm gonna pass this to you after that, but another thing that Jake mentioned was if they were to try and get back into the top 10, the ways that they will go about doing it, most likely the assets that you would use are Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and a future first round pick, which realistically, we've been saying this for the longest, that the ways that if you're trying to get into that range, you probably got to move Herb. We talked about, do you move the 27 swap, right? That's one of the things that we considered, we've mentioned previous, because we've been torn about whether you do it or not, right? And what value do you get for Trey? So just with all of that being said, what do you think in the grand scheme of things, or is it the aggregators kind of forcing it? Is it just when you hear anything, you kind of have to run with, this is what's happening? What do you think about it overall?
I think it's a combination of things. I think, to be totally honest, I think a couple people that cover the team generally dislike this front office. I think that's one of the things. So things will be framed in a non-complimentary way. That's first. I know Zach Lowe mentioned the Atlanta connection prior. Thirdly, it's common sense. I'm sure they talk to the Nets and everybody. Nets,
right?
Kings. This came out the day that they talked to the damn Timberwolves. It's what the fuck would the Timberwolves have to offer? I'm sure Boston's made some inquiries. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure like everyone's made inquiries. I'm sure there's probably like 27 teams in the NBA that have at least called about trade. It's all
Yeah.
about what the Pelicans want ultimately and who has the best deal. For example, if someone they like is looking like he's absolutely going to fall, then that might change what's available on their end. You know, I certainly think they want to go out and acquire talent because again, if you're the Pelicans, you like y'all ain't won nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I have to go out and make sure I get some guys that at least if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail on my end. I don't think it's a hard job to fix the Pelicans, truthfully. It's just about how you want to go about doing it and what the risk assessment is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let me see. Louisiana Gal said y'all think
Oh yeah.
they should move off the swap. Milwaukee could end up with Jalen and possibly trade for John a separate deal. I think with the way I don't know because I think with the way things are now,
Being good kind of don't hurt you.
right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. Like, I think with Dallas hiring the Michigan coach,
Yeah.
I think now a Daymara going in the top 10 becomes more of a scary thing. But see, the
Yeah.
weird thing with them is like they got Dallas has Lively and Gafford under like contract. Like, so it's kind of like, what do you
What's
do
the
with
point
those
of
guys?
yeah.
But I think, you know, a Daymara always been a threat to go in the top 10. But with Dallas getting the Michigan coach, it's like, does the Daymara become more of a pressing issue? And now do you have to leapfrog Dallas potentially? What does that look like? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting for me. Look, the reality is there's no right or wrong way to do things. It's all about the result at the end of the day with some of
Do
this
you
shit
win?
because some of it is luck. Some of it is 100% luck. Some of it, like, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to these type of things, I'm not really sure if there's a right or wrong way for them to go about it. My preference would be Herb, of course, but with the trade shit, I mean, you're just gonna have to see if someone gives you a great offer. It'll be hard to turn up your nose at it. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah. That's similar to what we said in general. Is like maybe Memphis didn't want to do a Bane deal, but if you get a certain offer for Desmond Bane, you might have to make that potential move or whatever. So again, I think when you're talking about the draft and what Milwaukee plans on doing, it still first comes down to the Giannis shit. Giannis got to get moved first and then see what happens, right? Like Giannis deal kind of has to take place. The draft has to take place. If you make a move ahead of the draft, right? If you make a move ahead of the draft, you have to get so much more for a pick. Like let's say you move trade to Atlanta for 8, right? Let's say that's the idea. If you make said move before the draft, then I need 8, I need Kuminga, I need this, I need a future pick to kind of cover the risk of if my player is not there, right? If you wait until the draft is actually happening, then maybe you find yourself in a position where we don't need 8 at all. You know what I mean? Like I might not have to do that deal, or maybe Herb to in this case, let's say Milwaukee is getting ready to do something like this, right? Maybe I go to Milwaukee at 10 and say, would a Herb Jones interest you for 10 if they did something like that? Maybe I don't need to send my Milwaukee swap. Maybe Herb is available at 10. If you go get Jalen and Jai, you throw Herb in there. Like maybe that team becomes more of a win now competitive team. So I'm just kind of the mindset that like you take the calls and based on everything that is said, I think there is a true priority list to a true priority list as to how things will work. Again, for Dallas picking right behind us, not us, but like picking right behind 8. If you do draft Mara, again, we've been talking about Lively being available or trying to get Lively and a potential Kyrie deal. Anyway, like, is that something you kick around? So it's just, again, man, I think there's so much. I think there's so much that's going on. Again, shout out to UAC. I appreciate you, Doug. You have to listen to all offers because it gives you foresight into your next move. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, you always pick the meat and take the call.
Yeah, you have to. I don't know if I played this one, but again, let me, just in case what we talking about, like the words matter. Here's Joe Dumars talking about that.
I think you plug what's possible. I think you
not yeah.
Plug what's possible. I think if it's possible, you plug it. If you get a chance to get a big time rebounder, like if the Pelicans get a chance to get a big time, we got to go get it. We got to go get it. If we can add another shooter or two, you got to do it. It's all really what's available and how you can get it. But yeah, I when you say a patient approach, I don't know if that means like don't worry about it right now. I'm not sure what you're saying, but I do know that if the opportunity comes to get those positions that you need to fill, you absolutely have to go and get them. You absolutely.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Well, what's up, Cullen, man? Appreciate y'all, bro. Everybody that's tapped into the show right now. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Again, this is another thing too. Teams get desperate while the draft is taking place. You don't know what another team has going on. And shout out to Louisiana Girl's earlier comment when she mentioned, talking about the value for Trey is still high, but maybe they're lowering their asking price for Herb Jones. That's like a true idea. And again, as people start to see what the rosters look like, maybe you hearing more about what a potential deal looks like. Again, we talked about Herb Jones being moved. What if it's not a pick, but like, what if it's Herb for Lively and something else? Like, what if that's the way that you address that center position? Then maybe that's something that you consider doing. And would you have an issue with them possibly moving Herb for like a Lively or something like that?
Nah, I mean, no. So just to answer your question, no, I wouldn't have an issue with it.
I just, man, as we get more into the, like, again, we're in the closing moments of getting closer to the draft. Whoa, what's good, Brandon? Appreciate y'all, though. We're getting closer to the draft. The news is picking up. The information is picking up. And I just think you have to be very careful and cautious with what it is that you're hearing. Because, again, just because you take the call, right, just because the news is coming out. And, again, I think there are multiple teams that have targeted, right, Trey Murphy, not necessarily as a prime option, but I think maybe targeted Trey Murphy as like a contingency plan to a degree. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or if it's something that another team could capitalize on, then maybe you make those calls to kind of get the information and whatnot out there. I just don't believe that anything is set in stone, right? Like, I don't think just because Trey's name has been mentioned that he's 100% going to be drafted. Also, which is, I don't believe he's 100% going to stay. If that's the case, what's your opinions on just kind of like the
I'm laughing because you just said it's 50-50, but in a different way.
Well, because it is 50-50. I think it's 50-50. Like, I think it is 50-50, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think they have to do anything, which what we talked about. Do I think they would like to make a move? Yes, but I don't think they just, again, like we've been saying, while people talking about the names that have been mentioned, or like just because the calls are being made, I don't think that necessarily means that like okay, you go in and there for sure. Like we talked about the idea that maybe they don't even trade into the top, like they don't trade for a first round pick at all. Do you
Yeah, I
think that's
mean,
still a possibility?
I would probably have it on a lighter side of a possibility because they do have like several things to address. And I'm sure they like someone in this draft. Me, I almost care less about them getting a pick versus if the player is going to be good. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't have a ton of experience with Joe Dumars. I'm not Joe Dumars. Well, I don't have a ton of experience with Joe either, but I don't have a ton of experience with Troy Weaver, right?
Yes.
But I know Troy Weaver's resume, and I know
Mm-hmm.
Troy Weaver more often than not, he's made the right decision. I think, look, man, the Derek Queen shit left a bad taste in people's mouth. Like that's what it boils down to. So when people hear like, oh, you trading for a pick, it's gonna be met with some resistance. But I do think they have several holes they need to plug, like Joe mentioned. I think you got to do it cheaply and you got to do it with some high upside. The Pelicans not being a free agent destination or or a preferred trade destination makes things a little tougher. But I definitely think that's one of the ways to add high level talent, and I'm sure they know that better than anyone else. And I think that's one of the main reasons they're exploring that because I'm trying to think. Let's say it's Cameron Carr, just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
It would be no way for the Pelicans to get Cameron Carr as a free agent.
No.
Like if rookies got the pick, if there was no draft and they had to pick where they were going, the only way the Pelicans would really get guys is because there's only so many teams in the NBA and there's a bunch of rookies. Other than that, I think it would be tough, like for the Pelicans to recruit guys and get guys in the building. Truthfully,
Right. Let me ask this because you've been big about the fan base, like not the fan base, that the front office don't really care, and we've kind of talked about that a lot. The front office don't care how people feel and or view them, right? Like they don't care whether to make a good decision, a bad decision, whatever. Do you think more so than anything, this front office, regardless if they make a good decision or a bad decision, has to win the player essentially has to turn out to be good. Like let's say you make the move for, let's say you trade for what's perceived to be a bad move, right?
mm-hmm.
Let's say it's done. But if the deal is hypothetically for Kuminga, but Kuminga fits and looks fantastic, do you think that, and then you take whoever you take, but do you think that's kind of like, okay, and the team performs whatever, do you think that kind of wins in the long term, or it won't matter?
I think for some people winning, for most people, I think winning carries all. I think for some people, they want to win a certain kind of way. Like they want to win their way. And I think that's how just some fans are, some people who watch the team are. For example, I'm sure there's people with that when the Raptors won their trophy. I'm sure there's some people that's like, it don't feel the same without DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Like some people are gonna feel that way. For me, all I care about is winning at the end of the day. And I think generally people will come around. I think, but it'll be a situation where you gotta win first and then they'll come around because I think the immediate response will be tremendous backlash.
Yes.
Like I think overwhelming backlash.
Oh,
And and I think it's gonna come from all fronts, like media, fans, etc. All I care about is winning. So if you go out there and win, I think if you go out there and win, I don't think no one should have anything to say, to be honest. But people want to win their way. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that, I think that's the human nature of some of the criticism as well.
Let me ask this question too, because again, when we talk about Joe's idea for building this team, he constantly references the toughness aspect. We got to get tougher. We need scorers, not shooters. a lot of those elements, right? Do you believe that, or is it a thought kind of that part of it is just removing not just David Griffin's players, but removing the old regime just to remove said players? Or is it just kind of like it's been proven that these players don't win at the highest level, so we need to kind of swap them out to a degree?
I think you want to mold your team and your image as a front office. You don't want to inherit like damn to everything from someone else. Asset management, just like how you want to go about maneuvering his assets with vision you see long term, and also other teams want good players.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, other teams want good players, and maybe you don't think very highly of this player. Like it could be one of the two things. Like, that's what I mean more so by asset management. Like, maybe you don't think that highly of this player, this particular player. Or and again, like I say, other teams want good players. Other teams don't just want your trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna want something they can sell to their fan base and say, hey, look, we won this trade as well. Like,
yeah,
this totally hypothetical. If let's say trade for 8, hypothetically, and that trade becomes, I don't even know who they drafted at 13. No, not 13. I don't even know who Atlanta drafted in the 20s. Like,
they drafted you talking about last year?
yeah, with
Um
that Indiana pick.
the big man. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
All right, so let's say the trade ultimately becomes Trey Murphy.
Asa Newell.
I thought Asanua went to Chicago.
Nah,
No
he went to
Asanua?
Atlanta.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
Yeah.
that guy. I'm thinking about the other guy with the African name. My bad.
Oh, nah. Asa Newell. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So let's say the trade is ultimately trade for Queen and whoever's at 8, because pick 5 wouldn't have been pick 5. It was a top 4 protected pick. The Pacers would not have elected to tank if they didn't have ownership of that pick. And if they didn't tank, that pick probably would have been like anywhere from like 10 to 15, maybe. So I guess if you want to throw that in there, let's say it was Trey and a late lottery pick for Derek Queen and whoever is potentially taking at 8, and whatever future player or draft capital comes along with that in that deal. If you view it through that lens, it looks a lot different than just saying you traded up for Derek. Now you're trading Trey to fix your mistake. I don't think that's necessarily an honest depiction of that scenario. I've seen that out there a little bit. I think it's more so just like, it's kind of like you've kind of seen David Griffin do something similar over the years. Like, David Griffin was able to trade the same pick in different mechanisms like twice. Like, he had a protection on this part, then he had a protection on that part. He was able to move that pick twice, almost similar to what the Pacers did. Because the Pacers would have kept that pick and it would have been top 4. That means they would have traded that pick like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Because they had a bunch of different protections on the pick, and they traded it here, they traded it there, traded it here. Like, so it depends on how you want to look at it, you know. But I think I definitely think it's gonna be a tough sale. I'll say that. It's gonna be a tough sale. I would definitely say that.
I'm just of the mindset, man, that like, again, I think with what it is that they're bringing back, and
You mean in a potential deal?
Huh?
You mean in a potential deal?
Yeah. I just think like with all of the news right now is kind of like, do I think they want to do something? Yes. Do I think they feel pressure maybe to make a move? To a degree, yes. I mean, I think maybe to a degree, yes. Also, I just don't know that, like, I just don't know if whatever move is made necessarily, is just because you move Trey is necessarily the wrong move. Do that make sense?
I think I know what you mean.
It's just like I think they want to get into the like, let's say I think they want to get into the draft, right? Let's say they want to get in the top 10. If you have to move Trey, not have to move Trey, but if you move Trey to get into the top 10, right? And to your point earlier, people believe in Derek Queen, right? Like they just believe in Derek Queen. But if you
that's not what I said, but
well, not I said people believe in Derek Queen.
Oh,
like some people believe that you won, not you won, but Derek Queen is gonna go on to be
some people, some people,
Sure so like some people feel like, hey, Derek has a bright future.
Right.
You might find yourself in position where you're okay with Derek Queen moving forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying just moving Trey. If you find yourself in a position where Atlanta calls you and say, hey, here's 8 Kuminga, Ricochet, and the future swap for next year. So now you got both of those picks, right? You might find yourself in a position where it's kind of like, that's actually not a bad situation to be in if we gonna move Trey, depending on how they feel about moving Trey. So I just don't think moving Trey ultimately means it's the worst possible scenario.
I don't think people care necessarily that it's Trey or Herb or whatever. I think people care more that they feel like you didn't have to do this. But like, and I think that's what it ultimately boils down to. Me, I feel like I don't like if you win, everybody will get over it. Like, and that's truthfully what it boils down to. Like, if you win, so fucking what? And like, people are gonna get over it. But right. I think I don't think there's no good faith there, and that's or I think people are not really talking in good faith. They're not necessarily gonna be giving grace. You know what I'm saying? And there's a number of things in nuance. There's a lot of nuance there to why people feel the way they feel. I think I've been on record saying I think this is one front office that no matter what they do, is going to be met with some backlash. And aside from them getting a crazy home run steal, it's going to be met with a ton of backlash. Like almost regardless of what they do. Like they trade for Kyrie. It's like, well, why you trade for Kyrie? Trade for Jaylen Brown. Why you trade for Jaylen Brown? You trade for this person. Why you doing that? It's almost like anything they do is going to be met with tremendous backlash. So human nature would say, well, if no matter what I do, I'm going to be met with backlash, I might as well be as reckless as I want to be. Like, not saying they're doing that or think like that. I'm just saying human nature kind of puts you like, well, I might as well do what I want to do if no matter what I do, there's going to be met with backlash. Like, like that's another thing that, like you can kind of push a person in that direction, at least on a human level. I'm sure they're smarter. I'm like smarter than me and smarter than that when it comes to being emotionally intelligent. But I think on a human level, that could force a person to be like that.
Right. Let me to shout out to Louisiana Gal for this point. If they do make a move, it needs to be today. I don't want them to make it to draft day and then they get on the clock and have to give up too much like they did with Derek. That's another point about like possibly moving Trey before the draft necessarily, right? Because you could find yourself in a position, and again, that particular package that I suggested about like trade to Atlanta. Again, you got news that May was gonna take the job in Dallas, and let's say Mara is the target, right? You're hearing about Native Mint possibly to Brooklyn. You're hearing about certain people going to like Native Mint to Brooklyn. You're hearing about Mikael Brown to the Clippers. So most of the information says that Mara should potentially be there at 8. If the trade today got you Kuminga and Ricochet next year swap and 8 just for Trey, you feel a lot better going into that particular draft, I think, about what it is you got what it is you got back, as opposed to being on the clock tomorrow and then multiple calls potentially start coming in from, for a said pick, and then you find yourself in position to maybe do something different. Said they went from offering teams 8 to 12 last year with a top 4 protected pick to offering an unprotected pick. Everyone was whipping their ass in the draft room. So I don't know. Like, what's your opinion on potentially making the deal before the draft itself?
You would have to know who's on the board. I think, because and again, this is, at the end of the day, this is the entertainment business, right? Entertainment business. So yeah, fans can be emotional and irrational, but it's like they kind of got a right to feel the way they feel. So, and they pay money for the product. So it's like, if a deal that presents itself is received well on Monday, and then Tuesday that deal turns into something else because that player isn't there anymore, but you already, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say Mara's not available at 8 Tuesday, but you traded for 8 Tuesday. Well, you traded for 8 Monday with the anticipation that Mara's going to be available Tuesday at 8, but he isn't. Now you drafting Nate in. How that trade is viewed now is totally different than how it would have been viewed if Mara would have been there. Like, kind of like what happened in the NBA Finals.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, what up, Luna? Like, if you would have waited an extra day to make that trade,
you're probably in a different position.
Yeah, like, a lot of things are different. Probably. Maybe it is different today, maybe it isn't. But it's like,
right.
Probably it is, right?
Yeah.
So there's something
that's a good way to frame it. It's kind of like you wait a day, maybe.
There's no science to it, really.
Yeah.
It's like, with Louisiana Gale, her point was tremendous. I think also what helped seal their faith with the Queen there was that everyone knew they wanted Dairy Queen. Like, everyone knew. Like, we had conversations about Queen being drafted 7th.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knew they wanted Derek, and once everyone knows your business, man, Phil Raw, I wish that was the case, bro. That would be a nice duo in Atlanta. I wish that had came to fruition. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, like he talking about, we won the Queen trade. Appreciate y'all for sure. Make sure y'all hit that like button.
That would have been interesting in Atlanta.
Yeah, with DQ, again, I know a lot. If Queen, a lot of people feel like you gave up a lot for Queen. They did target Queen and went got Queen. If Queen balls, right? Again, some people believe that DQ is going to be really, really good. If Derek becomes that, right? And like the promise that people have for Fears and what they believe, like, people don't want John Morant for Jeremiah Fears, right? If Derek had that kind of talking about him right now, I think people would view moving forward I think you would get a lot more credibility, I guess, in who it is they decided to trade for. Do that make sense?
It does. It certainly does. I think, man, I think, man, this is your show, not mine.
Before I'm gonna let you get this thought. Even though the Pels really kind of save you from yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though the Pels really I'm good with whatever, but even though the Pels really like 4 players that's starting the league out that won't make it past Brooklyn, and that Mara is target number 1, which is why I think the concern of May going to Dallas might put more of an emphasis on number 8. Because as soon as that hire was made, everybody just felt like it signaled, okay, one of the Michigan guys.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them. So it's like,
again, you don't know which one it is. You don't know which one it is. But it's kind of it just puts to me, it would make more sense that they would have more concern about it now. Because again, you just saw the mocks having Mara dropping as low as 12, right? I think it would make more sense for the pressure of like, man, look, I think we got to get before 9. Well, before you probably had a possibility to get 9. Like 9 was probably a possible avenue.
I think they probably always knew that they was gonna hire old boy from Michigan, though.
Probably.
And I say that because and shit, if they knew, I would imagine that some people in the Pels front office probably knew. Because there's some Michigan ties, Detroit Pistons, Izzo, like this different Michigan ties. I'm sure that they probably had some inclination, even if they didn't know for sure. I don't know if you necessarily have to do that.
I think that's another thing that had been reported a lot over the
last week, at least 7 days or so. You've seen that. I don't necessarily think they have to do that. As far as like you got to leapfrog Dallas, because again, now you're desperate. I know you're desperate. I can take advantage of you.
That's another thing,
and that's why it's like in a situation like that is
you don't want to. Do
you want to chase in that scenario? Yes. Like because if it goes great, awesome. Right? But if it don't go great, it'll be back-to-back years that you've chased,
right?
And the results have been mixed,
right?
And I think once that happens, I think if there was any goodwill, it's 100% gone. Not that, excuse me, I'm sorry. Not that will be the case. I'm just saying, like, just generally speaking, like if you would have, fuck, we got to get to 8 now because,
then
9 is like, now you're under the gun because I know who you want. I know you desperately want this person. I know you desperately are going to try to get them. Now I'm going to try to rob you blind. And I think it's a tough position to be in for any front office.
Let me ask this question because they said, and matter of fact, hold on, I think I got this as well. Real quick. Let me check out. Let me play this video real quick.
Me and Matt Ryan's conversation yesterday. God bless everybody out there, man. But some of the stuff you wake up and see in this seat is so far-fetched and not even close, not even remotely close to being true. And I saw a lot of that this year, man, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. I saw names pop up in trades. I've seen the coaches list and stuff. And I said to Matt yesterday, I said, Matt, I can't go out and completely say how I really feel about that, but I'm going to tell you that we don't even have a list like that right now. We've got names that we've been like talking about, but the idea that, they have, I see someone wrote, they have people in the building that really like this guy. And I'm like, sometimes I just feel like, where's that coming from? Like, it's amazing. So we're going to go through this process. We're going to have a good list of guys.
Now, again, this was in reference to the coaching list. But again, the previous video, we talked about them taking a bunch of calls. Again, they were potentially targeting Nate Ahmed. The concept still remains is that nobody truly knows anything because I think I don't want to say anything. Let me take that back. Let me take that part back. I think that information is beginning to come out to a degree that you have potential people that you would like to get, right? But I think when people start putting out okay, you're kind of under the gun, you have to. Do you think that is more like they feel they have to do something, like they have to make this kind of move to be desperate to get Mara? Like, is that the only option that they have? or they're
No.
willing? Do you think they're willing to say, look, we really love DQ. We got a little aggressive. Again, they started bringing in a lot of people in the front office, right? The Amanda Greens of the world, all of these new people around. Do you think with all of the new people that's kind of around that specialize in these type of deals and whatnot, that they're kind of like, when it's time to start making decisions, right? Hey, if we can get value here, like we can move trade, but we can really get some value and get what we want. That's one thing. But like if hypothetically, if it is Mara, right? Mara, Kuminga, who future picks, whatever the situation is, if that's the case, then okay. But they're also willing to say, I don't really like this situation because Joe has set the price on Trey, right? Set the price on Trey, and then he hasn't really wavered from the price for Trey Murphy. If that's the case, maybe he's more willing to say, I'm not willing to take the L on the Trey Murphy deal, even if it is for a player I love. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that in general?
I think I don't want to assume they would have done anything differently last year.
Mm-hmm.
And if they wouldn't have done anything differently last year, one would presume they would have the same type of, I mean, you learn every year, of course, generally, but one would assume that they have like a similar way of approaching things this year. So I think if they see someone they fall in love with, the cost may not necessarily matter. I'm sure they're not gonna do nothing crazy, but I'm sure if they see someone that
they'll put that last time they did do something crazy.
Well, you know, I think it was, for some people it was crazy immediately. For some people it was crazy in hindsight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because if you thought that pick was going to end up being pick 13, it's like whatever. Yeah, and some people said they was like, well, if the pick is 4 or below, I'm comfortable trading that pick.
Yes.
Right. Like people said that, and now people feel somewhat differently. I think I don't know. I'm sure like new people are going to ultimately have some perspective, some added perspective, and provide some nuance. I'm sure some of them people just got there. I'm sure they had it in their mind, but some people just got there, and it's less leaks now than there were last year. So last year it was just way too much smoke surrounding the Dairy Queen thing. And it was just like, bro, this is ridiculous. And ultimately it ended up happening. So, Yeah.
As far as like the leaks and the information and how it's traveling.
Yeah.
And again, we have really good sources of information as well of what we're hearing from people about some of the things that the teams decide to do. And I would imagine that some other people that follow the team and whatnot have other quality sources of information as well. From outside the building, maybe not necessarily from in the building after, the gutting of a lot of people, but do you feel as though the leaks that are coming from other teams should be deemed more credible than the Pelicans not putting out anything?
How do you mean?
So like an example would be when Boston initially, when Jaylen Brown was mentioned, that people were looking for a third team, right?
Right.
It wasn't coming from the Pelicans that they were trying to trade Trey Murphy for Jaylen Brown to be that third team, but people were just kind of, what's his name? Bill Simmons had said, a likely deal is Trey Murphy for Boston, or they would like to, you know what I mean? It was kind of like that. So it wasn't necessarily the Pelicans putting out that information per se, but it was put out from the other team source. Do you think information that comes out like that, like Memphis probably put out the Ja to New Orleans, right?
Mhm.
It could be Atlanta putting out, hey, I heard, Trey for 8 and whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, do you think where the information comes from deserves more credibility, or you know what I mean? Or just because the leak's not coming from the Pelicans that they deserve more? You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
I think it only matters if it's true, to be honest. Because, like,
that's a great point. Louisiana Gal says less credible because teams are leaking New Orleans to create a bidding war for themselves. That's a great point. If you don't mind me addressing that real quick, Louisiana Gal, appreciate you for that, because if you leak that the number 8 pick is worth Trey Murphy, then teams that might target somebody at 8 feel like if Trey Murphy's right there, I might have to come with a significant offer to beat said offer, when the Pelicans have come out and said, we never told anybody that Trey Murphy was going for number 8, or we loved anybody enough to go make that type of move. So that's a really good point for her being able to make that point. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I think and shout out to Louisiana guy. I think generally it only matters if it's true. Like, because ultimately, here's my position. Ultimately, the information doesn't matter. Like, what ends up happening is what matters. Right. So if something bogus ends up happening, and then, like, no one really gonna care who broke the story first, or like where the seeds of the story came from. Now, if some shit came from your organization and they give you less leverage in the situation, someone was leveraging you to get a better deal, then I'm sure you don't want to be used. You know what I'm saying? You want to get out ahead of that. But or you don't want nobody in the building being unprofessional, leaking a bunch of shit to put you at a negotiating disadvantage. But ultimately, I think the information matters way less than what you actually do. Like again, like I said with Dairy Queen, because it was a foregone conclusion. So with the Dairy Queen thing, it's like too much information got out about that. It would have been nice if no information got out about that, because maybe you could have kept top 4 protected pick or what have you. In the event you did keep a top 4 protected pick, you wouldn't have the pick now anyway.
Yes.
Right. Yes, this hypothetically speaking, the pick would have had to be top 8 protected, a lot of it protected to be relevant today, probably. Right. So, and I think it's better if your intentions are left unknown, so they can't be leveraged against you. But what ends up mattering ultimately, like it don't matter that shit getting out about Boston trading Jaylen Brown if they actually trade him.
Yeah,
because now he's gone. It's been out, for a couple of weeks now. Even if he stays, he's under contract. If he requests a trade, all right, we're just trying to trade it anyway.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? So
I get you.
Yeah, like it's a little different. Whereas the Pelicans are in a peculiar position because you don't know how rookies could turn out.
Yeah,
right. You just don't know, and it's on the heels of another deal that was met with so much scrutiny that now, like even with the Wiggins shit, when Wiggins got traded yesterday, some people are like, man, the Lakers could have got Wiggins. Or why the Spurs, man, somebody should have swooped in and got Wiggins. And it's like, well, they pretty much cut him and got 2 seconds.
They basically got rid of him for 2.
They basically cut him.
They did what the Pelicans did with Jose.
Yeah, like, and you got 2 seconds. And I think the Pelicans did Jose a favor by sending him home, because they could have traded Jose anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I think how the deal you make is ultimately what matters the most versus what information gets out there.
All right. I agree with that. I'm gonna go to a little quick commercial break real quick, man. Y'all hit that like button. I don't know if people been following JP. I'm hoping JP get back to his ways next season, and if not, even if he moved, but just go ahead, keep an eye on this. Hold on one second. Y'all hit that like button.
The hard work is always going to get put in, and I'm just trying to be a good example for it. those who go through tough times. I mean, it comes with everybody goes through tough times, but it makes us stronger. We grow from it. We learn from it. We're going to look back at this in a little bit and just laugh, honestly.
When it's too late for you to dip, you gotta stay, see a new day, a different script. On delay, get your shoes lacy for your trip. There's a lot of ace, a lot of moves swinging in the crib. A lot of play, a lot of dudes came and never stick. Was the artist ways, a lot of loot came into the grid. I pondered days and John new pages.
When JP is ultimately moved, that's gonna be the funeral video. when JP,
boy, be careful playing that music on your shit, boy. Yeah, definitely hit you with something more.
Oh no. Well, we're gonna have to be careful about that one. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate everybody. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Again, the nature of today's NBA and like information and sources and stuff like that basically just kind of comes to, okay, who's putting it out, what's necessarily true, what's his trade value? I don't know necessarily. I think his trade value is different right now. I think you're going into the season with JP, unless again Jaylen Brown is ultimately traded, and then you maybe use his salary for that type of deal. So I think a lot of the players' value on this team right now truly is unknown or incredibly low. But I just think you have the possibility of changing this roster. But the overall premise of everything is we have no true idea what's going to happen because not much is coming from the Pelican side, right? We know that they put out or they have a target of players that they like, right? We know that they have a bunch of different avenues, but when you just listen to what it is that Joe Dumars is saying, even the people that are reporting, right? Jake Fisher has said, well, there's interest here. Sam Amick said, if I had to guess, I would say Ja's gonna wind up there. Like nobody is really talking with it. Like most of the stuff are coming out are people hedging their bets. The only information I think that's been heavily reported that might have some accuracy, and you still don't know if this happens, is Giannis wants to go to Miami, right? I think that's truly the only interest in that. Milwaukee wants more than what it is they're willing to offer. Other than that, man, you just don't know with today and what's going on. So if I take the Pelicans at their word, which again, you got to take that with a grain of salt as well, and you listen to how Joe Dumars is framing and the things that they're trying to prevent against, it's not that, you know, these all players are untouchables or anything like that. They've said multiple times you have to take calls on everybody. You have to listen to every potential offer. We don't know what's available. If you have the opportunity to get somebody that they deem you know, a great shooter or a great rebounder or more shooting or more rebounding, it depends on the cost. If they're going to be willing to do it, they say you have to do it. So I guess again, we'll see what they determine to be, who they determine, to Chaz's point, is a player that can be a difference maker for them and what it is they may feel they need to get up for said player. And if they write about who that player is, because if you believe that Derek Queen moving forward is a potential 2010 type of guy, I'm not saying whether he is or isn't, but if you believe that he's that or close to that and he turns out to be that, then okay, they will look better moving forward. If you make a deal and you bring in Amara or you bring in whoever it is they decide to bring in, or if they don't make a deal for in this draft at all and just say, I want to run it back, right? Hypothetically, let's say you run it back. Well, then you have to trust not us, because we'll criticize them for whatever it is they decide to do, or we'll praise them for whatever it is they decide to do. But whatever decision you got to make, you have to trust your evaluation process to say, fuck it, we good, or, you know, maybe it just don't pan out. What's your overall thoughts on that sentiment, I guess, or that line of thinking?
Can you clarify it for me a little bit?
So basically, it's kind of like there's a lot of potential things that could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, what it boils down to is if you decide to make a move, like you said, it's about how said player performs. If you decide to make a move for fucking whether it's Nader Mint, Mara, whoever it is,
right,
we'll judge based off of the move itself. But if that player comes out and produces and you're right about your evaluation, then it don't matter.
I think to a person who's being genuine about it, I think it won't matter. But I think if you're a person that's gonna hate the front office for whatever they do, then it'll continue to matter. I think you'll be like, well, I didn't like the process of this.
Right.
Okay. It's like, well, but the player's a fucking bona fide Hall of Fame or bona fide All-Star. At that point, the process shouldn't matter, right? But I think that's why I say I think the front office is in an interesting position because to some people, no matter what they do, they're gonna be met with a ton of criticism.
Here's a great example of that. Let me throw you a scenario. When Jaylen Brown's name was initially kicked around, and today, it's reports Boston will move and won't move and whatever.
Yeah.
Some people feel Jaylen Brown Jaylen Brown, second team All-NBA, decorated player, whatever. Some people feel Jaylen Brown doesn't move the needle. It's like, yeah, I want Jaylen Brown, but I might not be willing to give up trade for Jaylen Brown. And then there's other people on the other side of that that's just kind of like, you fucking kidding me? It's Jaylen Brown, right? So that's what I mean. It's kind of like, to your point, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. What it boils down to is the Pelicans in the front office have to trust their evaluation process for what they feel like is the right way to move forward with said player. Because like you said, some people are going to criticize it regardless.
Yeah, I guess, you have to succeed or fail doing things your way as a front office. Again, fans are fickle. Fans, like if Jordan Hawkins tomorrow scores 50 points in a game, people are like, you can't trade Jordan Hawkins. Look how talented he is.
Yeah.
But it's like this 81 games of him scoring 0 points. You're like, yeah, but that one game that shows if you use him right, he can score 50. It's gonna be, people are irrational. So
yeah,
I think that's why the front office people, they get these jobs. I think a lot of times because they are rational, they can see the forest for the trees, and they can, have a vision or a big picture perspective, whether it comes to fruition or not. So I think ultimately you gotta do things your way, and hopefully it works out. I think the people that's acting in good faith are going to give you every opportunity. I know I am. I know we are. And like if a person don't like it, or one of the moves, then they just don't like it. If it don't work out, then it don't work out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be both, perspectives there. But I do think each front office deserves an opportunity to do things their way and succeed or fail their way.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what it boils down to. Ultimately, and we'll get ready to start closing, I guess. I'll go through some of these start questions and whatnot.
Okay.
Brown going to the Bucks and Heat, I'm guessing. Possibly if one of them. Well, he don't have to go to.
It's making it sound like the Heat is out of it.
Yeah, it to me it sounds like Boston is going to present a better offer, which in turn means to me that like the Bucks probably could get a better offer. Like if they move Jalen, like they're gonna get whatever they get from the Bucks and then get a nice offer moving Jaylen Brown to whatever. Or
to me, that would be my let's just wait and see. Because I think Jalen's gonna be moved again. Like if he does go to the Bucks, I think by the deadline or next offseason, he's moved again, like Kevin Durant, or Michael or something. Because then he got to talk about extension. He got to decide if he wants to be there.
Yes.
I think to me that's my whoa. Let's not use all our bullets. Let's wait and see.
And that's to me where I keep like you don't put all your eggs in the draft basket necessarily, because one, if the Miami deal happens, right? If the Miami deal happens, then it's like I don't know. If Jalen goes to Milwaukee and Giannis goes to Boston, now I'm like, I might be able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, what's going on? What you want to do with that new, that, because if he don't ever play that, they have less incentive to keep Jalen Brown than how this Giannis situation is playing out.
Like, well, I'll say you're talking about Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee, yeah, Milwaukee.
I think Milwaukee want to sell tickets, to be honest. Like I think they want to give the fans some hope and stay relevant and try to sell some tickets, man. I also think with the Bucks, they trying to decide, like, do we want a face of the franchise or do we want a future? And I think you could do both. I think you could do both, but see, the tough thing is, man, you don't want to be too short-sighted with shit. Like being short-sighted always bites you in the ass in the end, unless you're already a contender. Like if Jalen Brown was 25, like I think for the Bucks it'll be cool. Like it'll make more sense. I would absolutely call and make an offer for Jalen. Like to me, if they're willing to trade Jalen today, like to New Orleans, Louisiana, they was like, we'll trade Jalen today. I'm on that motherfucking horn. Like, yo, what is? Look, I was getting calls while I was doing the show. I'm like, yeah. So what's popping? Like, I'm on that motherfucking phone. To me, Jalen Brown would be my number one trade target. Like I've been saying this for a couple of years. So, I don't know if that's the direction they like to go in, but I certainly, if Jalen Brown is available and he's, because I don't know how that own team thing is like. I don't know how much I buy that necessarily because it got to be a good team too. So I'm like, motherfucker, like, I want my own team, but the team bad. I don't think that's gonna be the case.
Nah,
but I do think if you could get Jalen Brown to New Orleans for a nice deal, make it happen, man. Let's make it happen, man. Because that's why I say they could do both, because there is a world where you put Trey Murphy on the marquee in Milwaukee. He's not Jalen Brown and Giannis. No. But there's this a world where Trey Murphy's on the marquee, whoever you draft along with Trey is on the marquee, and you're just starting this thing over with young talent. Maybe you'll probably move Trey at some point again. But I think that world exists.
Man, if Jalen is available, if any good player is available, which is what I think that they doing, if any good player is available right now is where I think everybody is making they calls, right? I think between right now and going into tomorrow before the draft starts, and obviously stuff gonna happen during the draft, but like, all right, Giannis shit is really, we got 13 hours, you know what I mean? 15 hours to figure out some kind of way Giannis is going here. Okay, well, if Giannis is, and this is the thing about the offseason that makes it amazing. Like when Luka was traded, nobody knew Luka was traded. So Dallas didn't even have an opportunity to offer, like,
that happened during the season.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like they ain't even have a chance to like make, like, to maximize and get like maximum value for Luka, because it was during the season. They wanted to keep it a secret. They wanted to keep it out, keep it away from Luka or whatever. With this potential deal right now, if okay, listen, Giannis is going to Boston. Now it's like, okay, I have an extended period of time to build this trade however you want to trade it. Like Jalen could go to Milwaukee today, and then you could be working the second parts of that deal over the next, like you don't have to do it right now. It's not like games are being played. So you can expand trades again, like they use the example of Kevin Durant trade. Like when Kevin Durant got traded to Houston, I think it was, it started out as just a 2-team deal, but then ultimately expanded to like this massive like 5, 6, 7 team deal or whatever. I think similarly, if Jalen is on the market and they say, look, Giannis to Miami and Tyler Hero and whatever.
You
it's
mean
like, all right, I'm sure Boston's gonna call him, not Boston, Detroit's calling like, all right, well, what's up with Hero? Okay, you was getting ready to move Jalen. Can we get Jalen to New Orleans and y'all take Trey? Then maybe Trey's redirect. You know what I mean? It's just so many ways.
Yeah, there's ways you can expand it. Yeah,
exactly. So like, if once the first move actively happens, I think whichever team like doesn't get selected, essentially, you can still call said team and be like, you was about to move Khalil Ware anyway. What's it like to get Khalil Ware? And then maybe that's part of not trading ahead of the draft anyway. Or like, let's say as soon as Giannis were to go to Boston, right? Then maybe you call Miami and say, look, we ain't got to trade up for number 8. We ain't got to make that move. They were just about to trade Khalil Ware. What would it take to be, to maybe get a package and get Khalil Ware from y'all? Like y'all were just getting ready to part. So I just think ultimately, go ahead.
I'm listening. I think I agree. I think I mean, look, there's always opportunities to expand deals. I do think Boston in particular probably wants to like compete for a championship right now. I don't think they necessarily be looking to take a step back unless they miss out on Giannis and Jalen was like, I'm done here. I don't want to be here no more. Now you're in a position to where you're like, well, fuck, now I gotta go take what I can get because now he requesting out and that could go bad. And it wouldn't be the first time a player's requested out, so that could go bad.
Similarly to what I'm thinking about with Trey to a degree being mentioned for like 8 and whatnot. It's kind of like, I don't think that information is coming from New Orleans to a degree. Mm-hmm. I think it's them kicking the tires on everything, having a what would it take to go to 8, right? Yeah. It's like similarly what we talk about this again ad nauseum. It's kind of like, if I'm trying to get to a certain position, certain players' names are going to be mentioned in rebuttal to that deal. Like, okay, you want 8, what about Trey? Well, maybe not Trey. What about Herb? You reported Herb's name's coming out. Now, if you got a deal where you could possibly swing Trey for something else, like, because the Pelicans still have a lot of movable pieces. Like, you could be talking about 2 to 3 separate types of deals. If the word was they're going to be aggressive and this roster is going to look completely different moving forward, let's say that's still the plan. All right, maybe you move Herb to go get a draft pick, and then maybe you consider Trey somewhere else for like the Jaylen Brown. Like, it's just so many avenues that they actually have with DeJounte's salary, Poole's expiring, Herb, Eves, if you want to move Eves. There's just so many different things that I don't think that we should be hung up on what comes out and think that's the end all be all. I don't think we should treat every potential source of information or every report as like motherfucking gospel as it's coming out at this point in how information is constantly changing and flowing.
I just think it only matters if it's true. Like that's kind of why I'm at generally, because I've heard it all at this point. And I've been many off season hearing it all at this point. And it's like, even sometimes deals get right up to the motherfucking door and it just don't go through. Like, I've seen that happen several times. So to me, I'm not necessarily talking about like aggregators and stuff like that. People who literally have no link to either organization or any organizations. But I will say it really only matters if it's true.
Yeah.
Because if it's true or not true, then people are going to respond to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the deal goes through and people, like, prime example, if people hate the prospect of a trade, they hate the prospect of it. They don't like the idea of this trade whatsoever. And that trade comes to fruition, they don't give a fuck where they heard it.
Yeah.
They hate the trade. Like, they was gonna hate the trade whether they read about the bitch in the newspaper or it was on the blimp going across the sky. Right? They just hate it.
Yeah.
But or they like it, they gonna love what they heard it first, etc. Like people don't even, a lot of people don't necessarily remember talk like Mosley and the connection being made in what was that, like November, by Jake Fisher. People don't necessarily remember that. Yeah. Some people kind of treated it like, oh, this is new information. It's like, no, it's been like, it was like, this is new information. Like, nah, I've been talking about this since November. Like, this was a rumored, he was a rumored coaching prospect back in November. Like, it was the rumor, but nobody even mentions Jake Fisher. Like, no people, I'm like one of the only people that keep shouting him out because it's like, no, I remember hearing it from him initially, but most people don't even remember where they heard the shit. And that's just kind of how it be going. Like, I don't think people care that much.
Nah. Ultimately, you got to win. Again, and to your point, and we'll clarify, it's not about what you heard, it's about what happens. So
that's what I think.
Yeah, it's not about what you heard, it's about what happens and what gets done.
My bad. How about the any more start questions? I see it was like 14.
Oh, yeah. My bad. We'll go through some of those. Draft days tomorrow. Are we trading to get in? Possibly. What's your numbers on? What's your if you had to guess, what's your percentage that they make a deal to get into the draft, top 10, or they don't? Like, what's your percentage on that?
It's hard to call a top 10. I would say top 10. I'm gonna say 70-30.
70-30 they do?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Is it one of those situations where it's 10 or nothing? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on how the draft falls. Like, because if you got a good and if you want to risk it, because if you're willing to risk it and just be like, nah, he about to fall, Mara, hypothetically, let's say it's Mara, he's gonna fall to 12. It's like, I'll wait to 12, and then I think I got a 70-30 top 10, like 80-20 outside the top 10.
Okay. 80-20 outside the top 20. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I would put it today. Well, I don't even want to say top 10. Let's just say fucking 8 and down, 7 and down, right? Because they have the relationship with Scott Perry and the Kings, so I don't know what happened.
Maybe you go to 7.
Maybe it could potentially happen there. I don't know. Do us a favor, Scott. But so 7 and down, I think you might. I think you might got some action. I'll put that 80-20 out. No, 70-30 outside the top 10. I'll say 80-20.
Let me ask this: is your opinion, like your opinion? Do you think any of the players in that range are worth moving up for?
What range would that be? Just when I say outside the top 10, I just mean like
let's say we talking 8 to 12, right? In the 8 to 12 range. And I know we don't know the cost necessarily, but do you think any of those players are just kind of like difference makers in a point where you feel like, okay, I have to get one of these guys?
I can see the logic. To me, it would probably be Mara. I can see the logic behind moving up for Mara, and I probably would agree with it. Yeah, I would probably do Mara. I'll probably say Mara. Everybody else, I don't know that they're like
enamored with like that.
Yeah, I don't think they're significantly distinguishable. I think there's guys. I think every draft has guys, honestly, bro. Like, and I think the only sure things that people see in this draft are in like the top 4, and maybe you can argue Mara being 7'3" is a sure thing, but I'm not that in love with this draft. Like, shout out Louisiana go.
Yes. That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't love this draft. Like, I don't get what people saying. I don't want to, like, I don't know why people are so enamored with a bunch of fucking 6'1", 6'2" combo guards. Like, I just don't see it. I never loved this draft. Since I started following it, I'm like, I don't get the big deal. So
let me throw an opinion at you. Real quick. Aside from Mara, which I think is the guy that they'll potentially move for if they do move for anybody, I think it'll be Mara. Do you think that their thinking was they evaluated this draft, and when the draft they never intended to be a top 4 team regardless, right? And that was the risk of fuck it, we might as well trade next year's pick anyway, or some version of next year's pick, even if you did have protections on it, right? Again, if it was top 4 protected, top 7 protected, you don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have the pick right now either way. But do you think part of it was they looked at this draft and was just kind of like, unless it's said player, which probably won't be around where we plan on picking anyway, we won't be moving into this particular draft because they don't think any of these players are going to be better than Derek Queen or whatever the scenario is.
It's possible. I'm sure some of that thinking probably went into it.
You don't think they had that foresight base?
I do believe that's probably possible. Probably more likely than not. I don't know, man. I just it depends on everything. It always goes back, and it's a shame that we're going to be in this situation for probably a couple of years to come. It always goes back to how you feel about Derek Queen. Like, if you and that's the thing. It's like you're going to be evaluating this trade for the next like 5 fucking years.
You at least evaluating it. If you make a deal to get back in this draft, you definitely evaluating it again. You comparing it
because now it's like back on the forefront of like the news.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm kind of ready to move on from it. I'm like, I've accepted the sunk cost.
Yes.
Because I'm viewing it as sunk cost. Some people don't view it that way, but that's how I'm viewing it. I'm accepting the sunk cost. It happened. It's over. It's time to move the fuck on. So it is what it is. Right? But now it's back at the forefront of the conversations, and everything you might have suppressed over the years or over the past season, watching Derek. And now it's back to saying, oh my God. Now we gotta relive this experience. So it depends. It depends on how people feel about it. I really think people should just move on. I think people should just move on. It's tough to move on when if the news is right in your face every day. But I think people should just move on. Honestly,
I agree.
Pick is gone. Fuck it. Like, let's move on, man.
Yeah, like the only thing people like you said, they're gonna keep comparing it if you keep throwing stuff to like trade the future to get back now. Nah, if they move like a 2030 or something like that to get back in this draft, I know people talking about 20. Like if you did something like that, then I don't think it really hurts you in the like. I don't think that's more like a Derek Queen kind of thing. Like, yeah, you would have had the pick now, but I would view a move like that, especially if you don't move a player. I think that type of deal would be looked at more like, okay, they were just going to acquire assets, like you said before, because it don't even have to be 8. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the thing. Like, it don't like pick 8 don't necessarily represent your pick. It's just an asset. It could have just like pick 16. It's is it 15 or 16? I think it's 16. No, it's 15. That's Portland's pick. Like technically, the Pacers just traded pick 5 for fucking Zubac.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you better don't go, and I don't like this draft. So, but pick 5 could have been a Damara. You could have got a Damara instead of Zubac if you wanted to for cheap and went on about your motherfucking business. If you Indiana, but you chose Zubac. You think Zubac the missing piece, whatever he might be. Who knows? Yeah. But I think you just have to view it as like an asset. Once you, and that's the thing with draft picks. Once you attach a name and player to it, the scrutiny is just out of this world.
Especially if that player don't pan out. Like if that player don't perform or exceed or whatever the situation is, then that's when all of the calls start coming. Let's get to some of these star questions real quick, man. I'll get you out of here. Appreciate everybody, man.
Shout out to everybody. Make sure you hit that like button.
Man, tapped in on the middle of the day or whatever. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Back to Louisiana again. Sounds like Joe is lowering his expectations on the Herb trade. Still wants a lot for Trey. Real quick, what you think of that?
I ain't gonna hold you, Joe. I probably could have told you, brother. I don't think Herb got no crazy market. I ain't gonna lie. I think he got a cool market, but I think 2 firsts potentially is out of the equation. Whereas maybe I don't think you could have got 2 firsts last offseason. Maybe 2 bad firsts or 2 protected firsts. I think 1 solid first is the most you can hope for right now for Herb. Or you could reverse the game and attach him with salary and probably look to go buy something potentially. Another distressed asset.
Do you think the playoffs kind of hindered Herb's value even further? Those kinds of players or it just was what it was?
I think 2 years of not playing and not being good when you played kind of was the people don't respect the Pelicans. Like that's one of the reasons why Joe is here, to bring some respectability back to the Pelicans, to the Pelicans rather. People already don't respect the Pelicans. So it's like, looking at your players and this guy and I think people are going to look and attempt to make a fool of the Pelicans at every turn if they can. Unfortunately, like I don't think they're going to approach the Pelicans in good faith with respect. I think they're always going to approach the Pelicans looking to try to make a fool out of them, unfortunately, because that's been the narrative with the former regime.
Gotcha. Let's see. The quicker you change, appreciate you, Phil. The quicker you change the roster, the quicker you lose your job if unsuccessful. I agree, but also I think if you stand pat and lose, that's just as bad as changing the roster, because the past couple seasons in this particular situation, the more you stand pat, like they had been losing the past 2 seasons. If you stay based on the trajectory right now, the closer you stay to the same, even if they win more games, right? Like that don't necessarily mean that you're moving further along. So that's kind of one of the things. Whoa, appreciate y'all,
Jess.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. As we roll through these. What if next year Queen improves and in year 3 is a 2010? Are you still upset about the pick?
Depends on how you get in 2010.
That's a great point.
Because all stats not created equal. Again, final game of the season. 2010? Yeah, like what he had, like 30 and 20 or something like that. I don't remember what it was, the final game of the season, but he had this incredible stat line. But if you watch that game, was it Bellinger? What's his name? And
Bellinger for
bust Derek Queen's ass. Bust his ass, dominated Derek, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, but if you just look at the stats, you would be like,
Derek was 30 and 20.
Yeah, they're 30 and 20 on this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck you talking about? And that's impressive, really, no matter how you slice it. But if you watch the game, old boy had like maybe 25.
And they beat our ass that game.
And they beat us. Old boy had like maybe 25, 15, 5 blocks. And how he was getting his was so much more impressive than he probably shot like 80% from the field or something crazy. Like, it was just so much more impressive than what Derek did.
More dominant of a performance.
Yeah, it was just like, this dude was nice. And, it's all about context. Like, that's the thing. Like, some people like, well, Trey averaged 20. It's like, all he is a shooter. I'm like, I can see that. Maybe you want a more J-Dub type player score from everywhere on the court, hit big shots, can give you, some defense, some rebound. You want a more well-rounded player. Totally understand. So I guess it's all about context.
Very true. I think if you get to that point and Derek Queen is doing that in like a winning effort and plan, if Derek Queen and you're winning, I don't care who else is around, and Derek Queen somehow becomes like your second best player. Like let's say he's your second or best player, you winning and all of that kind of stuff. I think you feel different about the deal.
I don't want to put that much pressure on him.
No, me neither. Absolutely not. Yeah. I'm just saying hypothetically, if Derek, like just specifically to answer the question, if he improved and then by year 3, Derek is a 2010 and you talking about making the playoffs kind of starter kind of guy, then I think you did well in,
if he becomes Knicks Julius Randle, you did well.
Yeah. Yes.
But because Julius Randle was what, like pick 4 or some shit like that?
Yeah.
But if so if he becomes like maybe a little lesser version of that, I think you can definitely like you tip your hat to that move. I definitely think, because I don't think that's I'm saying it like Julius Randle some scrub, because he not a fucking scrub.
No,
but that's not like easily obtainable, but I definitely think that would be a home run.
Yeah, if Derek.
But typically, I'll say this too, and this is the thing. This is the thing. People like to point to Jokic, right?
Yes,
so that's a little bit of an anomaly. You can't always go with the anomaly. Things usually happen how they traditionally happen, right? Normally, you see shit within like the first year or two. So if you don't see it by year 2, it's fair. Year 2, year 3, it's fair to say that it may not happen, right?
Right.
Like I didn't see Julius Randle as a good player until he came to the Pelicans. Like, yo, he
struggled in LA for a couple years.
Because the first year he broke his leg.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that dude kind of talented.
Yeah.
And then he went on to the Knicks, and it was like, yo, this dude fucking cold.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Developed his shot, he was already strong, but developed his game, found his footing.
So there's absolutely, and look, shout out to Ken Quantas. He said, I remember Joker and Sengun defense was horrible their first year. Shit, Sengun was still horrible. Yeah, Joker and Sengun defense still awful. The thing is, they so incredible offensively.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even talking about Derek's defense.
Yeah,
I don't think Derek's good offensively either.
Yeah.
So it's like, at least not now. I think he got some things to work on. So like them two dudes are so awesome offensively that it kind of makes up for
what you like, and that's kind of where it goes, man. Can we win with you, right? Because you could win with Joker defense being terrible,
right?
But how phenomenal?
He's also like 7.
That's right. Yes. How phenomenal are you at the other stuff, and how big of a liability is the defense? But that's that. Yeah. If we trade, where does the shooting come from? Shout out to everybody, man. Appreciate you for the question.
I have to go find some. I mean, it's good. I have to find some. I
think there's a difference between like shooting and scoring. I think you can get scoring back. I think you could go find shooters if you still have scoring out there.
I think you need shooting.
Well, this is what I mean. I think you can, if you hypothetically, right? You can I think you could bring in Luke Kennard, right? And Luke Kennard, for whatever you say, is a shooter. I don't think he gives you the volume, but Luke Kennard is a shooter, right? I think there's other players that you might be able to bring in. Duncan Robinson is a shooter. There's players like you talk about all the time that they got cheap shooters that you can probably bring in.
But see, here's the context, right? In a trade, hypothetically speaking, let's say you bring back 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
You don't have roster spots for all these people, and you gotta pay them. Like, so if you not, let's say it is pick 8, hypothetically speaking. Let's say it's Kuminga, pick 8, and Shea, right? That's about Kuminga making like what, 26 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
That's at least like $40 million coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you put in Hawkins. That's about like 3 to 4 player for 2 player trade, hypothetically, if that's the actual trade. Mm-hmm. So you only got 2 roster spots right now.
Yeah.
And this is after you waive Kevon Looney potentially. So let's say you waive Kevon Looney. All right, so now that's 15 roster spots. Now you got to do another uneven trade to open up more roster spots so you can even sign the shooters. So it's like a super like multi-step like process. That's why I'm like, with some deals, I'm like, well, this ain't even really a legal deal because you'll be taking back so many players.
Yeah.
That you can't roster all of them, and or you risk becoming an apron team or going into the luxury tax. Then you'll have to pay to get out of the luxury tax. It's such like a multi-step process, and I think that's why you really gotta like with fans. They're like, well, just trade them for these. I want this player, this player, this player, this player. It's like, how the fuck you about to do that? Unless you send out like about 3, you gotta send out like 3-4 of these motherfuckers yourself. So it'll be interesting.
It's gonna be a lot to see how this goes. Do you think Nato meant upside is Michael Porter Jr.? I personally don't. I think his upside is BI. And I don't know if you feel BI is better than Michael Porter Jr. I don't necessarily think that, but I think Nato meant. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Nato Mint. I ain't gonna lie. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's too slow-footed. But who knows, man? You never know who's gonna be good. Anything can happen. And I think situations matter. Actually, this one. Who's most likely gone tomorrow? Herb or Trey?
I feel like Herb is more likely. It does kind of seem like a trade is inevitable, but I feel like Herb is more likely.
I think a Herb trade is only inevitable if the desperation is on the other team, not us. Do that make sense? Like, I don't think they're gonna lower their price on trade just to get rid of Trey. Like, I think somebody else might really want Trey to where they may be more willing to meet the asking price.
I think they can be desperate in a different way.
Okay. What you mean?
I think you might not be desperate to get rid of him, but you could be desperate to get the guy you want, like with Derek Queen. Yeah, you could be desperate to go get that guy. And
do you think they love a guy as much as they love DQ?
Man, and look, talking to a couple of people who like they're not with the team at all. But talking to a couple of people, it's kind of like the consensus from people I've spoken to, not who aren't with the team, has been there's no way that you can be aggressive and go get Derek and not be aggressive and go get a Jaylen Brown or like really, that's not even how it was framed to me. How it was framed is no way you can go get Derek and not be aggressive and go and get somebody good.
Like, if you love, let's say you love Jaylen Brown, you can't be aggressive for DQ respectfully, and then say I'm not willing to give up whatever for a all NBA level guy.
Yeah,
don't have the issue that a Ja has, something like that.
That's how it's been expressed to me from people who just like monitor the situation, who not like with the team. They just like, there's no way you could be aggressive for DQ and not be aggressive to go get like a good player. So I'm like, this is what's been expressed to me. Right? This is not me saying this. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I guess we'll just see.
Man,
That is a hell of a way for a motherfucker to express it, though. Like,
yeah, that's a very, very unique way to frame that. Jaron Pierre Jr. at 58 would be great for the Silly and sell out every night. I don't know if he sell out the Smoothie King every night, but we definitely gonna be popping in Kenner. You know, he popping for that squadron, and I like Pierre.
I like Jaron Pierre a lot, but
yeah,
nobody
ain't
gonna be in that arena, bro.
No, the Smoothie, not the Smoothie King, but see the
squadron. If he was in the arena, nobody wasn't gonna be in the arena.
Yeah,
and I like Jaron Pierre. Nobody gonna be in that arena for Jaron Pierre, bro. Like,
whoa, what's good, bro? Go Pels. Appreciate it.
And I like Jaron Pierre a lot. I think that dude is really talented.
That's interesting. Ingram versus Porter Jr. Dog, I don't know. Probably was. Dog, Porter Jr. was really him. That's what people. I don't know, but Ingram a dog too. That'd be an interesting game. Let me go through some of these a little quicker. Take 21, the 21st pick from Philly for her. Maybe Sinak is still available around them. Shout out to you, Mike. Always showing love. Appreciate y'all.
Shout out to Mike.
Yeah. I don't know if they do that, but
I would.
I think listen, I do think that they're gonna kick every to your point about like retooling the roster and stuff, and the roster is possibly gonna look different. I think they're gonna explore the options to get rid of, and I don't want to frame it as get rid of, but to get more of to get more of the guys that they want in said building. Like if they really liked Kuminga, but they couldn't figure out a way to get Kuminga last season because of how difficult the trade scenario was, right? Like we looked at it it was really hard to do a Kuminga deal for the Pelicans. But if you got 8 Kuminga, something else, 8 like so Mara, Kuminga, something else, and you felt like maybe your pick for next year or 2 picks technically for next year. Because you at that point, I think you would get the Bucks and your pick, if I'm not mistaken, right? How that will work?
If next year's pick, if the Bucks pick lands in next year both picks land in the top 4, you would keep both.
No, I mean like if the other portion of the swap that you get from Atlanta, like you could technically trade for that version of the swap, right? That Atlanta owns.
The Pelicans could. I mean, yeah. You can technically. So I'm saying like
because it's like how the picks work is, the Pelicans get the best of, and then Atlanta just gets the worst of whatever.
Yeah.
Those picks are. I'm saying if you send Trey hypothetically to Atlanta, if you really like Kuminga and got Mara, whatever, and like give me y'all version of that.
Yeah, I guess you could be like, all right, well, now I want that pick totally unprotected. You could do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. That would be interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that's something that you look at and it's like,
mm-hmm.
All right, now I got Kuminga who I like, Mara that I wanted, and I got that full version of the pick or whatever that scenario is.
But I do think you can't leave without that though.
I agree. I
think you can't leave without that. Because you gotta have something to sell at the end of the day, bro. Like I'm just talking about from a human element. Look, the arena's gonna be empty next year. Like we just could just accept that. You gotta have something to sell. And I like a Demara a lot. And I hope they find a way to get a Demara. I really do, because I think that's great scouting on their behalf, and I like a Demara, and I'm happy that they've shown some interest in him. But I don't think a Demara is selling no tickets. So you gotta have something that gives some people some hope and something to sell. Shout out to the homie Trae Young getting that big bread.
That money, man.
Blind, Trae.
That's why you opt out.
Rob them blind, Trae. Don't leave no money. Look, not that team can't be good, because they probably will be.
4 years for 212.
Ooh, I love it.
Bust their head, dog.
Yo,
that's a good move for them too, in my opinion.
I think so, because especially if you y'all been losing so long, bro. It's like you finally hit the lick It's time to start winning, dog. Like
Yes,
it's time to start. Like let's stop. You gotta just start winning. Shout out to King Quantas say, come on, Chaz. Empty. No, I'm talking about Paul Hayes, Scallywag, empty. That shit will be empty, cuz I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, just the update on Ja not coming.
Yeah, I don't think they have any interest in Ja, really, to be honest, just.
Yeah. So
At least that's the last I heard. Maybe something could change. I highly doubt it will, though, unfortunately.
Again, man, we talked about some of the other options. I think Kyrie is probably the true target, and then depending on what,
very nice. They say Dallas is holding strong, though. Dallas like, nah, we ain't trading them.
We ain't
Kyrie,
trading.
you gotta force your way out, dog.
Listen, they gonna take those calls. Give it a second.
Kyrie gotta force his way out. Come on, Kai, help us out.
No rookie outside the top 3 is selling tickets. Let's be real, absolutely not. That's rookies don't really sell unless you Zion. Like none of these rookies have like it's not Zion, it's not like, LeBron. Like they don't have. It's not. They don't have the generational. In my opinion, they don't have that generational tag or nothing like that on them. You think Cooper sold tickets?
No.
No,
not because you're on the heels of Luka leaving. And I think with Luka leaving, it was just a more of a mass exodus.
Yeah. I think you gotta be like a super unique kind of like
you gotta be a star. None of these like dudes, they could go on to be star players, but none of these dudes are like name brand. They're not as famous as Cooper Flag. None of these guys.
So all that college talking trade for Ja would be comedy. I get it, but that you trying to win would be more about what that was about.
Phil Raw, I think you got a holistically optimistic view of things because the general casual fan don't give a fuck about no X's and O's. They want to see dunks and threes and highlights and stars. Like I'm just saying, New Orleans is not a basketball city. New Orleans is an event city. So if you can't put forth a great event like Essence whack now, nobody going. Like you know what I'm saying? It's whack. So now that they don't give a fuck that oh man, they dancing their ass off at Essence this year. Like all right, whatever. Like the event bump. Like the sound quality is great at Essence. The microphone sound perfect. So it's both. Usher ain't done. All right. Yeah. So with the New Orleans, like with the arena, it's like if you ain't got no name brand motherfuckers, like whether you winning, losing, or whatever, people not coming, bro. Like nobody. They ain't come when they won 49 games. So they not. Why would they come? You're like in the starting lineup. From I don't even know where DeJounte from. DeJounte Murray at center from Maryland. Derek Queen. That shit gonna be
like for next year for them to look again. And I said this the other day, and it's still gonna be tough. Like Zion gonna have to transform into like early gonna have to
Zion here.
Yeah, true. Hey, that's a.
And I don't think he moving no units like that right now.
No, not as of what he was. He'd have to look like rookie Z, and then Fears was.
He'd have to set the world on fire.
No, Fears gonna have to look like CP3. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Fears gonna have to have like a CP. Like you gonna have to have if the team stays how it is now. Like I don't even think trading for Jaylen Brown to do it for you. To be honest,
I think the combination. I think it would do more for you.
Yeah.
I think it would do a lot more for you just because this is a name brand play. Like this is Lucky Charms. This is Lucky Charms. Kyrie got the bigger name. He got the more universally beloved name because everybody wants to play like Kyrie. But it's like if people want Lucky Charms. You got Kabooms.
Yeah,
like the people want Rice Krispie. You got Crispy Rice.
Yeah.
Like again, like even during that 49 win season, no one went to the games really until they was not even 49 win season. people at least used to go to the games when you played Luka, LeBron.
Yeah.
People at least used to attend those games. Last year, man, nobody gave a fuck. Luka and all them niggas was in there. Like nobody cared. Nobody went. Even
well, you kept losing. People come because they think you're gonna have a chance.
Well, and this. People, it ain't even that people upset. People just don't care no more. Like, well, once people don't give a fuck and they just like, all right, let me go back to rooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers or the 49ers, who I used to root for back in the day. Like, people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because even during the year they went to the postseason versus Phoenix, because I went to those games, I went to 2 of those games. It was like, that's because you made it to the postseason. Once you was in the postseason, people came. But during the regular season, nobody was there. Like, nobody. It's 82 games before then. More than that if you get into the cup. Like, so nigga ain't talking about like Chris Paul back in the day. You talking about today, now. Like, nobody give a fuck about that, son. Like, it is what it is.
Listen, man, I've been going to games for a long time. Like, I've been at the CP playoff games. I've been at the Denver, not Denver, I was at the Portland sweep. I was at the sweep for them. I went to all of the Golden State games when Anthony Davis was playing Golden State. I seen both times, technically, because both times he was eliminated, it was against Golden State. Like, right? Which is kind of disheartening, to be honest, because when they lost to him in 15,
at least the second time we got a game.
Yeah, but like even the first time, it's kind of like, all right, you lost to the team that went on to win it all. It's like, all right, like not that you had a chance of winning, but it's like, all right, you can't be too mad. Then the second time you lost to him, it was the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors.
Right. It was like, what the fuck? In that first game, when they had
had a chance.
Yeah, like a 20-point lead, and Steph hit the corner 3, and it was like a crazy comeback victory. It was like, look, people act like the arena isn't filmed. Like, there's like it's on film. You can see all these empty chairs. Like in other sports, like in wrestling, for example, when the arena empty, they just darken.
They black the crowd out.
They black the crowd out, and they just focus on the people on the floor. With the Pelicans, man, that shit be looking like a fucking checkers board. With like all the seats missing. Nobody be at the motherfucking games, man.
There, bro. Steph Curry them broke the Pelicans' hearts multiple times.
The good thing about Steph is he broke everybody's heart. At least
it ain't just. There's a lot of cities. It's a lot of cities that hate Steph Curry, bro. Like, I'm sure when they swept Portland in that conference finals, people was having the Dame CJ versus Clay and stuff, and they had to politely, swing that belt around. But like, it ain't just us, man. But you gotta, hopefully we can at least get back to having those kinds of conversations, Pelicans in the playoffs against other great teams, and seeing what they do. So I don't know, man. Man, that's gonna probably do it for me. You got anything else?
Nah,
anything worth mentioning? Nah, you good?
Nah, I would just say, man, you gotta do something, because I think it's gonna be interesting to see. Did you get your season ticket calls yet?
I'm getting my call. I ain't buying the tickets.
Not yet. No, what you see?
I don't know, dog. I don't know, because I say this. I'm torn on getting the tickets, because I'm probably going to the games anyway. Like, regardless of if I get the season tickets or not, I'm probably going to the games. 2, last year, I really liked the offseason. I like the offseason moves. Like, JP didn't work out, but I liked them being aggressive, going to get JP. Right? Like, I thought that was a really good move, and I still think JP could be a good player. I like them bringing in Fizz. I like them going to get Queen. So to me, it really just depends on what it is that they do this particular. If they run it back, I'm not buying. Right? Like, if they run it back, it's a fuck no. If I'm for real, if they run it back, that's how I feel. Matter of fact, let me. But this how I feel.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break? more records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. What more can you do? Do more. Like that's how I feel about.
I think this is a very pivotal year, not just for the franchise, but I think this is a pivotal year for like the pivotal basketball in New Orleans year.
Yeah, I think so. This last year was I gave them the benefit of the doubt because
because they inherited a bunch of bullshit. Yeah,
you gotta start your process, right?
Yep.
So far, I love all of the front office hires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I love what they're doing in the front office.
Likewise.
I like the Jamal Mosley hire. I think that's
too.
I think that's a good hire. So as of right now, I don't have any true reason for where they're starting at to like. I don't want to use the word doubt, but I'm still in the positive, I guess.
Yeah, same here. I think I'm not speaking from myself necessarily.
Yeah.
Just like I've been talking to these fans for years now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of know this fan base. Like I've been talking to these people for years now at this point. This is the first time you had two this terrible seasons back to back. So there's a lot of like, disgust at the owner, at ownership and things of that nature. And thus far, the fan base hasn't liked next to anything like that has happened. Like they were upset about the Joe hire. They was upset about the Mosley hire.
Yeah.
They was upset about trading the pick. Now they upset about the prospect of trade to get the pick back. It's like it's just that nail just going deeper and deeper into the coffin. And I'm speaking like for the general consensus, not necessarily me, because I'm gonna watch regardless. But for the general consensus, it's like, man, like for the first time, I actually heard people say like, they might as well just sell this team. Like we don't even want the shit in New Orleans no more. And I'm like, damn, people starting to feel like that. Like it's getting to that point. It's like fuck, and that's what losing does to people, man. Like losing, like Willie. By the time Willie Green was fired, people hated Willie Green. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Willie Green being there through 2 bad seasons, the Borrego not being much better. You had the design injury year before last. DeJounte still was hurt. You didn't get much for the Brandon Ingram trade. It was just blow after blow after blow after blow after blow. And it's hard for a fan base to take that.
I think this offseason is, like you say, they kept driving the nail in the coffin. And I think they've been trying to, like Joe hasn't, they don't care about the past to a degree, but if you're a fan that's been here, you can't neglect it, right?
That's the thing, like the fans do, and that's the fucked up part. Because like I say, the fans, they not really giving no good.
You don't get the benefit of a true fuck up. Like you don't get the benefit of.
That's the unfortunate part about coming into a situation, cleaning up someone else's mess, because they didn't leave you a great foundation to build upon necessarily.
Yeah,
so that's the tough part.
Because of, not saying that they can't take a risky move, they can't make a risky move, but more than anything, even with whatever happens, I don't care who get moved or how they do it. By the end of this particular off season and going into the season, you have to have, because you could pivot during the season as well. So I'm not putting too much on what they do or don't do, but leaving this off season, I think you need to have a little bit more clarity on what it is we're doing. Like, not necessarily like, because trading for Mara don't mean you're rebuilding or tearing down, right?
No, not at all.
But when we go into the season, I need to be like, just going into the season, I need to be able to say, okay, if it's good, then we could use JP to buy. right? Or like maybe we use JP to get better. Or if it's bad, then maybe we have somebody to sell. Like I just need to know, like after the off season, okay, we signed, I don't know, they got Precious Achua, he's probably gonna start, and then
Joe got a tough job ahead of him because it wasn't as simple as I just inherited Asar and Cade and all these guys.
Yeah,
It's time to move on. I'm gonna hire
I
a
just gotta go
fire-ass
get him a coach.
and it's gonna all work out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That hasn't been a situation just yet. Now maybe that can be the situation next year, but you already got last year in the books. Whereas Trajan was able to just come in and look like the savior. Now you're Joe, you come in there and it's like, well, fuck, I got to clean up everything. Whereas this guy, all he really did was hire a coach.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
So had cap space to go get some.
Had cap space to do X, Y, and Z. You already had the picks on a rookie scale deal that Troy brought in. Like it was just an easier transition for Trajan. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna run this last one, man. Appreciate y'all, and then we're gonna get out of here.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection. Let's go to work.
That's my message to everybody coming into the Pelicans organization. That's what we striving for, man. Every player, every coach, holding them to that standard, Joe. Let's make this shit happen. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Chaz, tell people where they can find you.
Just at Cheddar Chaz on everything, YouTube, Instagram, CHEDDACHAZ. Yeah, man, holla at me, man. We in the off season. Hopefully we make some new moves. Gotta have a name to put on that motherfucking marquee. Gotta have a face to put on that marquee.
Absolutely, man. It's me, I'm A. Davis, Pals in the Blender. Appreciate everybody for tapping in again. Little afternoon show, bro. I'll let y'all know if we do a draft episode, if I at least do a draft episode sometime tomorrow. If something happened today, more than likely.
Really tomorrow.
Yeah, draft finally, some true NBA action. I'm probably gonna do something regardless, just like a live walkthrough and whatnot. But we'll see though, because again, man, it'd be the 1 year anniversary of the show. Appreciate it.
You gotta do something for that, for sure.
So I might do something. But again, appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Hit that like button.
And happy Father's Day, man. Happy Father's Day. In case we didn't see y'all yesterday, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, man. Have a safe, blessed week.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all. I've said y'all be safe, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. Go Pels. We'll see what they do at the end of the day. For me, I'm A. Davis. We out. Peace.